Hello and welcome to the Genlock Podcast. Let the good times roll like the head of a French king. I am Mediocrity 4.
Out here in the fields, I fight for my meals. I put my back into my living. I don't need to fight to know what's right. I don't need to be forgiven. Don't cry, don't raise your eye. It's just Coop.
Still gay, still living. Hello, it's Lily, and hello.
And in my Genlock Hull on dreams, I imagine myself as an Apache gunship that rains fiery fury down upon all and any of America's enemies. And it is good. Although, I can't stay in that dream form for too long because I might pass out from blood loss.
Oh my. So, Genlock Episode 5, which means we only have 3 more of these things. And, nothing has really happened.
Yay! Filler in an 8-episode season show. That's a really great idea, guys.
We like marbling in our meat, not in our shows. That in this short of a series isn't really holding much.
Yeah, so this episode wasn't entirely filler. I'd say the first half was necessary. Bit of a wind down. I'm noticing this thing in a show where they'll end off the episode with like something major, quote unquote, happening, and then the start of the next episode is them like winding down from that instead of actually capping off the episode in a satisfying way. Like in the first episode, we had the revelation that Chase Blackman was in fact still alive. And then that didn't really get addressed until the beginning of the second episode. Then at the end of the second episode, we had what's his face getting mind melted, and then the beginning of the third episode was them reacting to that. And then the end of the third episode, I don't even remember. I think it was like their first mission, and then,
Training session.
Yeah. Their first training session, and then the beginning of the fourth episode was kind of them coping with the current regimen, and then the end of the fourth episode was Grievous Mech ripping Cammy's head. Yeah, ripping Cammy's head off, and then the beginning of this episode is Cammy dealing with that and trying to artificially get through that by apparently just adjusting mental sliders.
Because that's how it works.
So to sort of summarize what happens this episode as we do here, basically we start off in Cammy's nightmare where she's being chased down by the General Grievous Mech. She is noticeably perturbed by this, and the other members of the crew do their best to try to help her get over her stupid fear of dying, which is dumb, and start being a real fucking soldier and just learn to live with the fact that your life is worthless and expendable. And it doesn't really work. So whilst training, Cammy decides to scramble
Do steroids,
her brain.
mind steroids.
Yeah, brain steroids in the egg scrambler. Which is apparently a function of the egg scrambler. We now know this. This is new information that we've learned. So, unbeknownst to Cammy, Doctor Who has the parental settings on, so he can see that she's doing this. But he just lets it happen, because though you do have the parental settings activated, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be good at parenting. So...
Hey, let the child shock herself, and she might learn not to do it again or die. The risk to yourself is minimal.
You heard it here, folks. First, folks. Lily's approach to parenting is let the child touch the hot stove. That way, they'll learn.
They'll either
and also
learn
beat them afterwards.
I mean, that's how my parents
double.
That's how my parents taught me, and I turned out pretty well.
You still have moisture. You have moisture
didn't.
extremities and your fingers. You're okay.
Mm-hmm.
Physically, you're fine. Mentally, we aren't responsible for that.
So, oh man, you
anyway,
caught me in a silence as I'm stuffing my face with Reese's Puffs.
Don't worry, I'll continue summarizing. So anyway, Cammy does the brain steroids, and she becomes super good at everything because apparently just being an angry bitch makes you good at stuff. So she goes, she shoots better. She is
She does
like
the punch kicks better, and the best part I think I liked about this was Kazuyo was literally having the time of his life as he was getting like the like just beat up.
That's okay. That's my favorite part of this episode is the really subtle characterization they gave to Kazuo, in that he really likes fighting and he's just like loving this new side to Cammy, that because she boosted her confidence, her aggression, and her reflexes in order to achieve this
the reflexes.
In order to concoct this what's the drinking term?
The drinking term is
tolerance.
Monster?
Yeah. Well, hold on.
No, for like a mix of things.
Oh, that's a cocktail.
A cocktail. Yeah, this mental cocktail of emotions. Can you tell I don't drink like anything other than water, milk, and soda?
I drink all the things, so I make up for it.
Yeah.
Don't.
What are you, master of all 4 beverages?
Yes.
Yeah. And so, I did like parts of this beginning. I liked that, I think it's long overdue to ask this question. Why is Chase Blackman?
Chase Blackman is because Chase Blackman needs to be.
It's because what's his name is funding the show, so that means he gets to play in the show.
Well, that's the meta explanation. Well, that's the ultra meta explanation.
Consider the same vein of Miles. It was either Miles or Carey who was the one voicing Roman Torchwick. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm fine with him being in the show. I'm fine with his character. He's a little bland, a little boring, but a lot of leaders in these types of shows are. He's, Leonardo from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is probably like the most famous example of the
Leonardo had like more pathos, though. I'm not going to get into Ninja Turtles, though.
Eventually, he did. But why did they build up the show as if it was going to focus around him and like this relationship drama he had with Dakota Fanning, when the actual audience surrogate, the one that all this stuff is actually revolving around, is A, not even introduced until episode 2, and B, is Cammy.
Cammy does feel like more like a natural protagonist. I mean, she's more of like an underdog. She's maybe not less so an underdog, but she's the youngest member of a group going through a war. This is at least the closest thing to like a coming of age story through her perspective, and she is the most engaging character on the entire cast because she actually has a character. We see her flaws, we see her strengths, and we see her at least going through some semblance of an arc or the projected foreseeable future of one.
Yeah, they actually
Cammy is our Ruby Rose that we attach ourselves to.
Or
is she more of a John if we have to make comparisons?
Yeah,
more like
that. Or maybe she's the distant Lancaster child.
She's
it's all in the same universe.
She's Ruby with Jean Jean starting power level, because they do address the fact that she's the only one in this group who had never like been in a fight, who had never like really participated in this war until now. They did finally kind of address that little tidbit of information that was implied earlier on with like how young they said she is, and the fact that like everyone else has had like apparently war stories. Like Val has history with the Union. Yaz used to be part of the Union. Kaz has like his people in Japan that he was fighting with. And we saw Chase as a pilot in the first episode.
Yeah.
And really,
God,
even as
oh my God, the pun. The pilot episode is about Chase as a pilot.
oh my god,
Well,
Why
honest-
did we not
no.
catch that? Why did we not
God.
catch that for a month ago?
But on the subject of Cammy, though, like, I mean, even as far as, the bunny ears, much more bubbly aesthetic, longer hair, even, I mean, you could still argue the same for Val. But more or less, I mean, she still feels like the most, further removed from, having to adapt to a war setting where you've even seen Kaz have to, she's cut her hair, she's more utilitarian. Val, while still being a party chick, is at least a bit more, she's a bit more savvy with the whole shtick.
I don't
Cammy's the
know
one
if
that
Sha-
seems she definitely feels more like a city Scottish girl, or Irish. I think she's Scottish. Basically, she still feels like the most like a civilian and like a teenager, just engaging still in things like the internet and trying to really kind of help these people reconnect with that aspect of themselves, which in a pre-war scenario, which is honestly kind of nice.
Yeah, no, Cammy is the grounding aspect of this series. For better or for worse, that's what she is. And I would argue that she is also the main character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If she isn't branded as such, she definitely feels like that, and honestly, I feel like at least in terms of her archetype, what she represents, I feel like she's also the most best executed out of the entire lot of them. If you want to con in the Doctor too, those two are really the two distinct characters that feel well-rounded and are actually engaging to watch, more than just passable.
Which
But-
I will say this too, also in minor defense of Sombra. Even though she is a cardboard cutout of a character, I do appreciate how all of the members of the team do seem to care about each other. Not speaking in a romantic sense, but in the way of oh, they all at least are looking out for each other's well-being in some way, shape, or form, and are trying to help in their own way, shape, and form. So even though Valentine is, I would argue, the weakest character out of them right now, there's still moments too where as a whole, as all those those 5-6 characters combined together, they all seem to work really well as a whole unit.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
If we had to buy them in bulk, it's a decent deal.
so I think I slightly disagree with that, and pretty quick, because this is basically the next part of the summary that we're talking about, wherein it is revealed to the rest of the team that Cammy has been doping up her brain juice to get more gains in the mental areas that she needs them. And they're like, "Don't do that." And as you pointed out, media, this is somewhat hypocritical coming from Val. Uh, in Okay, so, and this is what I was going to get at before. I don't actually, now that I think about it, think that she is a poorly defined character. I think that she's just been defined in a way which I personally can't fucking stand, and that is that she is basically a complete hedonist, who is ruled entirely by her whims, and is able to just do whatever she wants on those whims and has had nothing to restrict her. She can. She's entirely motivated by pure physical and material pleasure.
Are
And
you
we
saying that Sombra is a Mary Sue?
No,
More like she's a thought.
Yeah, thought.
Or
I mean,
depending on what day of the week, she could be a Chad.
Oh no. But yeah,
That part I don't feel like was too ham-fisted though. It's
Well,
decent.
Here's the thing. We see that all of her dreams are of a sexual nature. Apparently, if we see that most of her thoughts revolve around the gaining of just stimuli, whether that be through sex or anything else, really, because she kind of put that.
Insert any type of indulgence, really.
Yeah. she's just a hedonist. It's
Man, she would be like a perfect Slanesh follower.
pretty much. She's even got the coloration right.
Is that like a World of Warcraft reference?
It's
No,
a
it's
Warhammer.
40k.
Well,
I figured it was 40k.
An even special brand of hell.
hey,
Yeah.
Boys Marines are pretty dope, to be honest.
Special brand in that it was created
Space
by
Marines that aren't Space Marines.
Yeah.
Well, they are Space Marines. They're just Chaos Space Marines.
And they
So
can
basic
literally...
Marines.
Yes, but they kill other Space Marines with sound.
Yes.
Oh, good God.
But
But
yeah,
anyway,
like I feel like that almost cheapens her character too, where it's like, because then it's almost like equating those people, like it feels like it's throwing them under the bus, because, like, I mean, nothing wrong with someone who's
I mean,
got their
that still
mind in
feels
a
like a bit
gutter
of
24/7. But
That feels like a bit of conjecture, but yeah, like, you know, someone who's like whose gender identity and sexuality is that of a fluid one and a very hedonistic one, lumping that in with Val's character. Well, it probably could be a misstep if they don't even deepen their characterization. Though, I mean,
like they can't even complain about it, because this is the way that this was signed off on by the actor who is apparently like this, him/herself. This is apparently the way they want to be portrayed.
And I guess the only thing that I could really like possibly like spout is perhaps, hey, they go through some sort of projected character arc where they aren't this hedonistic, or, you know, very much based on material wants, when it seems like, hey, maybe it's a world that's ever becoming deprived of anything beyond, like, you know, the material. Everything's very scarce in war, so you kind of take what you can
Val
get.
literally gets stranded in the Himalayas, and an ascetic Buddhist monk teaches her to let go of physical pleasures
that are more so
and
just
seek spiritual enlightenment.
that are more so to value camaraderie above the most basic sense of self, satiation, and satisfaction, because those are fleeting wants, and those don't lead to anything that's truly gratifying in the long term. That I can see. It's a very bare bones arc, but it's not necessarily an uncommon one, or one that would be serviceable in a show with this caliber of writing. I mean, I could see it. It wouldn't be anything new, but it wouldn't be terrible.
Honestly, like, mostly that's the sort of thing that comes up in, like, romantic comedies more, where you have the playboy or whatever reforms and stuff. It's not really the sort of thing you see.
Granted, Val has that general attitude, one could argue, of like someone who like wants to live like a bachelor lifestyle forever, to be available and to, you know, have anything the world has to offer.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you said they have like this character has a very hedonistic approach to life, and I don't disagree with that. But I mean, the playboy archetype as a whole is also built on a similar sense of hedonism.
Yeah.
I mean, you could see that happen, and even how Val looks generally, with a more male identity. I mean, they still have that same sort of aesthetic to them.
Yeah, and I guess I just don't like those characters in general, but, like, I'm not going to say that she's, like, a bad one, or that she hasn't been developed. It's just that they've developed her to be something that I don't find particularly likable or really want to root for. In a villain,
that's pretty fair.
This is a more common thing in, like, villains too. So, like, you know, the whole, like, ultimate, like, you know, Roman emperor sitting on his chair with grapes being dangled into his mouth type thing. That, like, this, it's more like that kind of archetype than something you find in, like, a good person. So I don't know.
It's weird. It just puts a weird taste in my mouth. And before, that's what she said.
Yeah.
Is just kind of like my personal, like, shitty opinion about this. I mean, like, it's not that, like, it's just it kind of just pulls me out of the setting almost.
I mean, I kind of made my piece last week where I was like, this is how they want to be portrayed. Like, two gender fluid people, one of them the actor, and the other one the, like, script counselor or script advisor, signed off on this character, And it's just... It proves a lot of people on the other side of the debate right. More times than it doesn't. It proves a lot, like, the people who are just absolutely against the way representation is handled, that are absolutely against those types of characters. It proves them right. And that's disappointing because I'm okay with diversity. It's just you gotta make it more than the be all end all of their characterization. Like Chase Blackman is a decent character because his character doesn't revolve around the fact that he is a black man.
It revolves around the fact that he's an all-American, apple pie loving, red-blooded young lad.
I mean, one could argue even Yaz is a bit of better representation for her demographic, because I mean it's a very subtle nod, but it's made in passing. And in all fairness, I mean Val's is only rather more of a head nod, but the general attitude and very flat writing for their character doesn't really help much, because even if they aren't meant to solely be a representation for their identity, the fact is there's going to be such a huge scope by the audience on a character that, ticks this box in terms of diversity, and there's almost just a greater sense of expectation levied upon this character and their arc. And it's just a weird case of an audience. And
honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Yaz actually pissed off the Democratic she was supposed to be representing more. Because they're probably sitting at home watching this like, what is this woman doing out uncovered in public?
Let's not. Let's not, no.
She must be stoned in the streets.
Speaking in Russian, one thing I noticed, just on a completely different note, why do they have subtitles for Kazu, but not Val when she's speaking Russian?
I don't know.
Oh, fuck.
No, I didn't even notice that. That's just an inconsistency. That's weird.
It's like a thematic choice, but like a weird thematic choice.
It's like they had contact with Kazu's voice actor, who does a lot of like legit shows and stuff, but he doesn't speak English, so they just translated everything for him, or whatever, and then put in the subtitles, but then decided to play fast and loose with Val speaking Russian because her actor is not Russian, and so it's such a weird production decision.
Genlock is no stranger to weird production decisions, aka stylistic choices, huge air quotes, the hugest air quotes ever. So we might not want to delve too deeply. Well, no, just the whole frame rate issue thing.
The frame rate's ass. It literally same reason why.
Oh wait, we agreed not to speak about the frame rate. We already.
Well, Lily wasn't here for the earlier podcast, so.
Yeah.
Just to be short and sweet, it's just as much of a visual deterrent from the Dragon Prince. So that show actually might be a bit better in story, so it's worth a rewatch.
It is better. I hear they've slaughtered lesbians recently, so we're good to go on that. 7 out of 7 cartoon of the year.
Do I need to yeet your ass into the sun again?
Wait, the second season of Dragon Prince is out?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's actually this really hot elf antagonist who kind of has like a similar star aesthetic, and I'm like, yeah, I can fucks with this.
But anyway, we swore that we would never broach this subject again, but I have broached it again because apparently the Genlock meme is it's a stylistic decision now. So.
It feels like maybe between 40 and 50, perhaps. And there are points where it doesn't look terrible. I actually at least like the base aesthetic of of how it looks, and like not frame rate, just like general line art, the colors. Some of them look really good. Like the first episode with Chase and his mom, I liked how they could look through what looked like just VR lenses or something in their eyes. I like that concept. That's quite nice. Somewhat a more inventive use of virtual reality and a weird hybridization of how we like video chat now. and to engage with someone in the same like 3-dimensional space.
Well,
That's neat.
In the future, Skype and Discord are eternally beat the fuck out.
Basically, yeah.
Well,
VR chat. It
here's
becomes
the thing:
like-
is that apparently they've just mashed whatever technologies they think are futuristic into this show. We've also been over that. Um, so like, as I famously quoted, if it's in the future, it's in the show. It's like that's their general approach to things. It would seem
So,
like.
getting back into the episode,
Oh yeah, so
we get
after...
we get another good moment between after Cammy's little tism fit. Everyone's mechs gets upgraded, and another thing that I always keep
Oh well,
praising
no,
though.
hold up. There's a moment in between that moment and another
Oh,
moment
where they're
Yeah.
where yeah.
Chase Blackman has a heart-to-heart via hologram with his paramour, who the fuck ever, Dakota Fanning.
The paramour haunts me again. I love
Yes.
that word.
Yes. Dakota Fanning is at this point like it's not even remotely close to being
Chase's girlfriend.
Yeah, well, no. She's down. She's almost completely convinced at this point. It's taken literally 3 episodes for her to go from even just depending on how you count it, like 2, for her to go from oh fuck you, dead and didn't call to you know what, I'm actually thinking about jumping on this D again.
Virtual D.
Yeah, because you know how bitches be.
Anything's a dildo if you're brave enough.
Yeah.
Pixels don't count. Unless like I don't know, like Minecraft and like Dragon Dildo like merge and like have an idea.
It just reminded
for that
me
ain't gonna be
of
great.
it just reminded me of Solo. Like, how does that work? Oh, trust me, it works. Oh god, I hate that movie so much.
That one off a side character they tried to have.
Yeah, the L337, the Fembot, who is apparently like banging out Lando Calrissian. Oh my god, that movie's so awful.
Well, here's the thing. Unfortunately, Chase Blackman is not a hard light hologram. He's just a regular one. So no.
I mean, unless Dakota Fanning wants to risk it with the Holon, the Holon's hard on.
I mean,
the good old HH, the Holon hard on.
Well, hold up.
Power.
We have already established that Chase Blackman has a different way of pleasing the ladies, and that was with his ginormous link, which he can upload to their brains.
Yes.
You aren't going to see the 12 link piston cock that you wanted for Ironwood, but you might see it for Chase. Ironwood is going to take a different meaning in this show.
Mm.
I mean, they made mechas. Sky's the limit now.
And so we get a bit of closure with man, some of these episodes are getting mixed up because I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this is the episode where
they do run together.
Dakota Fanning is like, have you ever thought about like just rejoining the Vanguard as like command or whatever? And Chase Blackman is like, who gonna listen to 3/5 of a person?
Can we not?
Yes. We've done it every time. This podcast. So. But yeah. Anyway, Dakota Fanning is completely destined to hop back on that dick. Jody is not even in the running anymore, and he knows it. You can see on his face the look he gives the going down. He's about to lose.
Jody doesn't care. He's like, maybe I could hook up with that like Cammy chick.
Hold up. Dakota Fanning is like, despite making up only 13% of my friend list, black people make up 50% of the people I like.
Well, okay. To be fair,
Time to commit scooter anchor. Ankle.
If you're the
Fuck.
kind of chick that fucks a black guy, it's probably closer to like 75-90%.
Oh no.
That's just how
What?
white women be, Lily.
Just remember, these hoes ain't loyal.
They are not. But
But,
anyway, Jody prepares himself to have his girlfriend stolen by a black guy for likely not the first time in his life. This is probably not a new experience for him.
It's probably not a new experience for most people, but I mean, life is just a roller coaster that throws you off every once in a while.
Yeah, you just got to get back on. But as he does so, an event occurs. Apparently, the the polity or whatever the vanguard, whoever the fuck it is that General Chancla is in charge of, they have discovered
Excuse me?
that yes, Generalissimo Chancla, El Mexican grandma.
Oh, come on. She's not that bad. Come on.
She's not bad. We like her. She's actually one of the cooler ones.
She's also pretty stacked too.
Yes.
And Cammy's also pretty stacked also.
Yes.
Is that house even legal?
I
No.
don't know.
Well,
It probably isn't.
It is it is in Texas.
Hold up. This is the
No.
future,
Do
okay?
not.
We
Do
don't
not.
know
No.
how
It's
sex trafficking
No.
laws have evolved in the 60 years between now and
Cool.
this takes
Stop
place.
speaking. Now. Please. Please. For me. Please.
They could have taken a more enlightened legislatively, is all I'm saying. But anyway,
Oh, yeah, I mean the thing is, I'm pretty sure Cammy is 17, which is a legal adult in Rooster Teeth's home turf of Texas, which is also half of our current podcast crew's home turf. So High Powered and Lily, y'all ain't got anything to worry about.
I find her cute, not a prostitute.
Well,
Don't-
She's
that's
a
because
nice character.
well that's
Yeah.
because you prefer your tall, dark, and handsome ladies.
yes.
Okay, fine. I want to get suplexed by an Amazon chick. Can you blame me?
No,
I can.
no, I can't.
But anyway,
But, like-
Generalissimo Chancla informs our heroes of their new mission to go figure out
Do
what
a
a
good
facility-
old-fashioned search and destroy.
Yes, and the previously named and perhaps misnomered Virgin Small Dick gets like a little bit of a line to shine in this. He actually, upon arriving at said facility and seeing that they are taking prisoners into it, and being asked if they are in fact going to still bomb the place, he says, and I believe this is verbatim, well, yeah, we're still gonna bomb it.
Yeah, he did in fact say that.
Admittedly,
He must have been a Marine before he joined the colony.
The only good
Sarge, you know that
only-
village that we weren't supposed to like do anything to? Let's say hypothetically it doesn't exist anymore.
The only good Union facility is a dead one?
But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but anyway, it is later revealed to my dismay that that interpretation was not being taken in the way that I thought, and they do in fact rescue the prisoners rather than just bombing the facility while they're still in there.
They don't do the Russian method of a hostage rescue where they're just included in the as the hostage takers.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
I do
How
like
did all of these guns end up on these corpses? They must have been terrorists.
I do like that you get the sense that these guys have fought together numerous times. Like one of them's like, I know that look. Every time you do that look, we do something stupid. Like I like that.
Yeah, no, I really there's things that I appreciate like about this dude. It's like even though like we'll just say this, the normal like Walker troops they are competent. They aren't like, oh no, we're completely helpless. We need the Genlock people to come in and save us.
They are
It's
in
like no,
fact
they
most
could in
competent
fact
people.
hold their own.
If they were
And I
better
do
armed,
appreciate that.
they could probably
Like-
hold their own.
Like, believably, you could probably see them like being like a good support, to giant mechs rather than mechs having to carry an entire war, which even in mass numbers wouldn't really be feasible, given how specialized a unit Genlock even is.
But anyway, this specialized Genlock unit who gets their upgrades now shows them off in the rescue attempt on what are apparently scientists, because they got sweet-ass facial recognition software a la Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon. That
Uh-huh.
is like anyway, the point is they identify these guys. They're like, hey, these are scientists that went missing and we thought were dead for like a bunch of years and stuff. And they're being moved into this facility, which is apparently a prison for scientists. Let's go save them. And so they go in and they save the scientists, and they bust out, and then they get chased by spider tanks. And the spider tanks are apparently now vulnerable to bullets, which is weird. I thought that was odd.
They had Cammy in particular is using like explosive rounds. If I recall,
A good
It
way to
does-
increase your hit probability whenever you have fragmentation.
It does beg the question of why wasn't she using those before, though?
They're expensive.
yeah.
My only argument would be that given like she was only like earlier in time, she was still new to her model. Maybe like an explosive round would have been too much of a liability if she detonated too close to her own mech.
Now you're making me want to have seen that even more.
What? Or having
Like,
explosives?
Her like her trying to shoot some just random foot soldier with an explosive round and then shooting her own foot off.
I
like
honestly
the Looney
would've-
Tunes moment of like she just shoots it and then she just looks back at everyone else and her mech's just covered in black soot.
I
Even
would've
more
liked-
so, her legs gone flying like she's an amputee victim who stood on a landmine or something.
Honestly, I just would have
Whoops.
liked to have seen a soldier shot with an explosive round. I want to see that gore. It's pretty sick. I've seen it before.
Son,
It's
if we're only
disgusting.
barely getting if we're only barely getting blood and double penetration out of Ruby, we aren't getting more than that.
Well, we saw a guy eaten alive by nanomachines. Like,
That wasn't really graphic though, was it?
there was bone.
It wasn't. Yeah, there was bone.
Yeah, it's still highly stylized to the point where there's not a lot of gore.
But anyway, they run away from the spider robots, and they down the highway, by Cammy doing some sick ass Tony Hawk-esque skate moves off the back of an APC that has been hijacked.
Oh, we
And-
also forget even the most important part before this was how they also work really well together as a team, and Kazoo is like just basically Kool-Aid Man's in and immediately starts just ruining everything by grabbing
Yes.
things and throwing it, and it's great. I love it. I love Kazoo. Kazoo is a Category 5 hurricane that rolls through a trailer park and does $20,000 worth of improvement.
Okay, so
He's grown on me.
they also do the thing with him and between him and Val of having the whole Gimli Legolas thing of how many can you get in the battle, which like that's, I don't know. It seems kind of unearned at this point in their relationship. They don't seem to have been through that much stuff to where they would have a game like that. But whatever, I'll accept it. Anyway, so then I guess they just kind of fuck off for a while Cammy has this sick chase sequence, and eventually Cammy runs back into the Grievous robot, who is like, guess what? I still want to do the exact same thing as I did before, i.e. murder you. So we're doing that for a little while. Grievous Robot activates the nano field
What does that
arena
even
thing.
do?
It does nothing.
This has been one of the biggest criticisms leveled at this episode is that this nano field that this mech has is absolutely useless. It serves no purpose. It doesn't eat away at things. It doesn't protect it. It doesn't even really obscure much. Like it forms like
It's just a smoke screen.
yeah. It might as it's not even a good smoke screen because all it does is like cover up like vision from like one particular angle. You might as well be using like a curtain to just like prop up a curtain because like Val is still like shooting through it. And you can't even argue like, oh, the whole she can't see it because she shares her vision with Cammy in order to make the shot, which I'm not a clairvoyant, but I'm pretty sure there'd be a lot more to it than just being able to see where the target is.
Well,
in
yeah,
order to shoot it.
the thing of that is well, I mean, if you I probably wouldn't be able to hit something. It would probably actually be harder for me to hit something if I had to view it from a completely different angle and perspective while still controlling the gun from my own body.
It'd be like
Like,
like looking through someone through a scope, but trying to watch yourself and shoot someone in third person.
And the
would-
reason
Also
why
having to aim.
the reason why I bring this up is it reminds me of this bit from one of my absolute favorite video games, Psychonauts. In Psychonauts, there's an ability called clairvoyance, where you can see things from other enemies' perspectives, and you need it for this boss fight, where it's pitch black, but the boss has night vision, so you have to use clairvoyance on her in order to tell when she's attacking, so you can block and run up to her. It's really hard to control because you're it doesn't adjust the controls to fit her perspective. You're still moving like as if you're looking at things through your own eyes when it's actually you're looking at them through the boss's eyes. And so when it got to that point in this episode, I was like, I don't think that's how that would work.
yeah, basically. Unless they have some sort of weird software algorithms that compensate for it or something.
We know that there's like aim assist or whatever, and that earlier in the
Yeah.
episode, Cammy,
With the drone?
actually just a few minutes earlier, Cammy does the thing with the drones where like her drones aim for her and she like just shoots. So maybe there's like she's not just seeing it from Cammy's perspective, she's seeing it through Cammy's perspective, and then it's also like showing where her thing is aimed at in relation to Cammy's vision, so she could like kind of move around from there. And it's just it's a little convoluted.
Rangefinder thing.
Yeah.
And then there's like the little cutaway to the drone, so it's like, was the drone also helping at the same time too? Like, I mean, and like, is it cool? Yeah. Do we need a suspender? Like, do we need to have suspension of disbelief or two? Probably. It's like, it's just
What?
like,
there's
Well,
ways it can be explained, but it would be very boring and would cut into the runtime of an already short season. So fuck it,
One
I
thing
guess.
that's made me pause, just somewhat slowly, it's not really a gripe or anything, it's just noticing that they actually do use larger model handguns that are proportional to their mechs. I'm almost surprised that the artillery wasn't built into like their plating or anything. But
Here's the
it
thing.
does seem somewhat functional to have the weapons like that.
Yaz's laser is built into her wrist. That was interesting.
Okay.
you know what? This is something that
okay,
came
I'm
to
gonna-
mind recently. So this triggers me. The Cammy's pistols the slides remind me of the slide of a high point pistol, and that makes me like
Oh.
cringe.
Oh,
Yeah,
damn.
I just ruined it for you too, huh? Didn't I? Coop?
Jesus Christ,
You
you're
won't
totally
be able
right,
to think
though.
of it any way else. Yep.
Fuck.
And what's even worse
Damn.
is the new high points look even more like them now too. Also with the shape of the slide,
Oh god, they totally
and they
do.
even come with, and some of them will even come with a cut for a red dot sight too.
You're killing me. You're killing me inside. Stop it. Why?
Now, to be fair to the high point, it is a perfectly functional pistol. But if you save a little bit more money, you can get a much nicer pistol.
But anyway, yeah. Okay, so I wanna talk about the proportionality aspect of it, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna come at this from not the perspective of you, Lily. I'm gonna say that you're fucking wrong. If you have any kind of mech suit or power armor or anything that has enhanced strength of any kind, a gun that is proportional to your mech is actually just inefficient because it can carry a way bigger ass gun than what it would be proportional to it. That's what they do in Gundam. The Gundam guns are not proportional to the mechs by any stretch of the imagination, but they still carry them around because they can, and because a bigger gun is usually more effective.
Oh. I'm not
So
that well
here's-
versed in mechas, so that's kind of why I like one that
Yeah.
initially
So-
handguns that were separate from the actual
Well,
mech were stood out to me, and I'm like, why is that? Or like, hey, can we like, is
It's
that
the
like
s-
decide?
It's
And
dissect
Lily
this?
has only held one hard black metal plastic object
Mm.
in her hand before.
It wasn't a
Oh.
Not
gun.
a sex toy, it was
Oh.
a gun.
Oh, Lesbian has cocked the Glock. You're welcome.
But yeah,
Oh, no.
it's similar in a lot of things. The Space Marines in 40K, they use the bolters. The bolter's not proportional to the Space Marine, even though they are 8 foot tall people. They're still like way bigger than they would be if they were proportional to them. But
Yeah, I mean, it brings me to this complaint. I think I addressed this in the first episode. It's a common complaint I have with a lot of mechas in that they don't use the idea of giant robots in a way that is compelling. They might as well be just dudes wearing suits. Like, this episode did a good job skirting that in most instances. In fact, I'd say it did a
That's
better
what I
job
was about to bring
than
up, Media, was...
and than any of the other episodes, because you see shots like them like kicking a soldier like a fucking football, and Dakota Fanning riding on one of their shoulders. Like, that's really good stuff. That is probably the first time that this show has really used the idea that these are giant robots to the fullest. But the gun thing is counterintuitive to that, because why not just have these people be wearing like power suits and using regular freaking guns?
You see, that's the thing that this is always like, especially like whenever the mechs are fighting, especially like with whenever the Grievous mech rolls up, it honestly feels like whenever they're fighting, it just feels like the Monty era of like Red versus Blue, like whenever the Spartan soldiers are just sitting there punching each other to death. Like, if there wasn't like buildings in the background that you could tell that they were as big as a building, then you would be like, oh, these are just two people in like power armor suits fighting each other. So
Yeah.
I don't like this is like I'm not saying it's a complaint. It's just like it's a weird nitpick that I
because
have.
it's not unique to Genlock. A lot of mech shows run into the same exact problem where the mechs are just kind of pointless because the mechs only fight other mechs and they only interact with other mechs, and they don't move like giant robots. They move like just people wearing power suits.
Again, the reason why is the greatest mech franchise of all time.
Yeah.
Oh, so here I have a philosophical question that I will now pose to the podcast. So whenever Sombra and Cammy do the finger touching of minds, Sombra is depicted as male. Now, is that because she was born as a male, or was that because is what she's feeling that she identifies at the time is a male?
I think more it's the latter, given we saw them depicting themselves as male, and with this sort of like HoloNet thing. I'd lean more towards that. I don't think the point is really what they were born as. Just who are they in the now?
She did say that she was kind of feeling it more in that.
She was feeling more like
episode.
Val than Valentina. If we're going to personify the two, like their two like genders Is
Yeah.
that?
So, like, it could be that she's kind of shifting over or whatever currently.
Not to harp back on Val / Sombra, but I hate how they credit her as like Val / Intina, as if like, oh, she could be both a boy or she could be either a boy or a girl, but only one of them is a girl name. Like
yeah,
that
they're both
was
girl names.
that actually not to get too like on that subject matter, but that's something that kind of always bothered me about the trans community, is that like they believe that, you know, you're born, you can be born a different gender than your biological sex, yet the name, something that is literally given to them and forced upon them by their parents, is somehow like gender specific, in that they have to change it to be like the gender flip version of that. Like, that's not everyone. In fact, one of my friends who is trans like went in a completely different direction. She was born Andrew and changed it to a completely different name that has absolutely no relation to Andrew. So that I respect. I respect her for that decision, because Samantha changing her name to Samuel when she starts going through that surgery, it feels a little more disingenuous. It feels more like they're in the wrong. I don't know. I'm gonna drop that because that's a pretty hot button issue. But that's just
That just seems more like a personal issue.
it's always been like kind of it feels weird to me.
Granted, it's just not our thing to pick apart. I mean,
Yeah,
it's someone
yeah.
choosing it. Identity shifts and the connotations of a name, like, you know, names if they aren't, like, you know, solely gender specific, or at least implied therefore, and like to a societal extent, if it's something that makes someone feel more comfortable in their own skin, it's just their choice to do so. It's their discretion.
Maybe she, he, or whatever she feels like that person is, they, them, thee, their, just likes the name.
Just they, them. It's not that much of a stretch.
Yeah. It's just credit her as Val, or just credit her as Valentina. Like, it really does not
I like
matter.
Val's a good root name for the for her at the moment. I like saying Val. And I don't mind that they call themselves Valentina. It's a nice name, and Val's a decent short name. If
Val
like,
is just short for Valentina, though. Also, it sounds like Valve.
I like Val. Like, it's a simple, shorter name, like the rest like Cammy, Yazoo, Kaz.
Kazu.
Yaz?
Yeah, Kazu and Yasmin.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I like that.
Yeah. Yaz is pretty fucking dope and too good for this world. Even though she is a filthy
Stop.
dirt.
Enough. She's a nice character, and she's very
Sand
pleasant.
N-word. There, I said it. The gamer word strikes again.
I want to say.
Why?
The gamer word.
Oh no.
I had
So
to make a swear jar for you, but it's explicit slurs that you just feel like you gotta say.
Honestly,
we should make like maybe when this season is over, I'll go back and actually listen to these podcasts and like jot down how many times we make like a 30% joke, how many times we make a 35th joke, and how many times we make any other kind of other off-collar joke.
For each tally, you're slapping my Kofi or something. It's like, no, swear jar now.
That feel when Lily embraces the pay piggy fetish community.
Hush.
It's already happened.
So,
you're already a whore.
I don't even know what that is.
What did we have?
I'll explain to you off podcast.
Oh no.
No, thank you.
So one thing we haven't addressed yet is
General Grievous Chan.
Yeah.
No, I was actually going to say Chase getting his wings back, because that was actually my favorite little part of this episode, where Miles Mexican is like, "You just haven't been the same, man. You were born to fly."
Orderly, say you just don't feel the same, Holmes.
What?
Also, I tricked it out with a lift kit.
Aye, Cabron, it's got subwoofers and everything.
Because I really like
No, you should.
I really like how that wingsuit gives Chase like a different level of mobility than all the other mechs, and it looks really cool
And you can
when
even
he's
tell that
when he's
he's
thrown down
excited.
with it. Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah. Well, this is the thing too. Also, this is like, this is probably this is, I would say, the most consistent thing in the show right now is how good the relationship is between Chase Blackman and Miles Mexican is.
Yeah.
Like, that is, I would say, that is the most consistent thing about this show, and they're doing a damn fucking good job of it. So like, kudos to them. I love it. I absolutely love it. They're doing
Yeah.
doing good stuff
Who would have thought that freaking Miles Luna would have chemistry with Michael B. Jordan?
I mean, they're both weebs, so
It's a wild world. Who knows?
It's pretty fucking
But
gay, though.
have they ever actually met though? Do we know how much Michael B. Jordan has interacted with any of the in-house Rooster Teeth staff?
that sounds like a
they
perfectly good
usually
question
do it,
for
they-
for an RTX.
Yeah, if they do it the way that they have been doing their other shows, then I would imagine a lot of the performance, so minimal interaction between them. But if Michael B. Jordan demands that he have like face-to-face presence with whoever he's acting alongside or whatever, then it might be different for this.
Yeah, I think that
out.
would be a good way to do it. Because I know Dakota Fanning and David Tennant both send their lines in via like Skype or whatever. But Mike B. Jordan hasn't talked as much about the voice acting side of it. He's talked a lot more. He's actually talked a lot more about. He's talked more about the production side than the actual producer of the show. It's kind of weird. You know, you get Gray, who's just like hyping up all the voice actors and stuff, and then Michael B. Jordan, the main voice actor, is like, yeah, this is the first time I've ever been part of a production like this. First time I've ever like done any real voice acting. This is, you know, I get this. I get these scripts. I'm helping out, like paying for this stuff with my own production company. We're using this to like, kind of like cut my teeth because I want to be like a legit filmmaker, like a freaking Black Orson Welles. And
It's like, check out my Snap story so we can get some sick, like, you know.
Oh, Jesus Christ, that feel when fucking you want to be a legit filmmaker by working with Rooster Teeth.
well, you gotta start somewhere.
First attempt at a web series. One, this could have been a lot worse in terms of art direction, overall production quality. And it's still overall a pretty passable and decent story. It might be blasé, but it's not like The Room levels of bad.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean,
Yeah, as I've said, the show is not great, but it's definitely not bad. It's somewhere in between, and I haven't decided where that's at yet. Where it's at.
It's the weird gray area of store-bought vanilla ice cream when you know Bluebell is better, but you just gotta take what you can get, because payday's not for another week.
But the Kroger brand vanilla ice cream is on sale, Lily.
Yeah. So
Kroger vanilla ice cream is pretty decent. Also, the Neapolitan is pretty good. It's the Kroger.
The Neapolitan is pretty hard to fuck up, and it's usually pretty good, but no one gets vanilla right like Bluebell.
I'm a Rocky Road sort of person because I like the chocolate chunks with the caramel in it.
You like the crunch.
Yeah, the crunch is good.
So-
You gotta have that mouthfeel.
No!
So
So
I'm just
anyway,
looking at these.
we get to the Grievous fight. The General Grievous robot is far less intimidating than it was originally, and we now know 100% for sure that it cannot win an actual fight against more than one opponent. Like, it just gets its ass handed to it every time it gets shown up, which, like, makes you wonder, like, maybe they should build more of these things. Who knows? Also, like, gets sniped. Again, the sniper bullets do no damage to it because I guess fuck carrying weapons that are effective at what they do.
Isaac Newton would beg to differ because it gets hit with that sick, physical damage.
It gets hit, yes, and pushed back, but the armor is once more unpenetrated. And as we all know, if there's no penetration, it doesn't count.
I mean, the people who have died inside of tanks because of, fragments of the tank armor bouncing around inside the tank hull would beg to differ, but I mean, whatever.
That's not the joke, though.
There's still penetration, though, from
Yeah.
that. It has to penetrate to create fragments inside the tank.
Yeah. So this mech, it makes some noise. It makes some sounds, and we're gonna go into some theories in this because it gets beat.
So
and
let's
it
go
runs
over
off.
the noises that it makes. So first of all, it seems to recognize Miranda, which is what's her name's character. It also calls out to, one would argue, both Cammy and Valentina at the same time, saying like basically birthday, spoiled child, whatever.
You're so loud. You haven't shut up since your birthday.
So,
and then it also says let the good times roll, and then copy that. And so
No, it says copy. I think it says copy, kill, copy.
So,
Yeah.
theories. One,
there's three leading theories, so we might as well just like brief over them
okay,
and our own personal opinions.
Okay, so, I guess probably the thing that would make the most sense is if there was, like, the nanites that killed everybody somehow also downloaded their fucking brains and personalities while they were murdering them, and, now they've combined them all into some sort of composite, human
Composite
mind.
hive mind.
Yeah, hive mind human AI thing, and uploaded it into the robot to be the thing that runs the robot. Um, so that's theory one. I'm gonna say that's probably it. Like, that seems to make the most sense.
I personally am of the opinion that it is just a drone with like a very advanced AI that was just like, we're gonna let you loose on the internet so you can learn things, and yeah.
I think mine's a little bit too brutal. It might just be like the internet. It composited a bunch of people's like thoughts that they had put onto the internet or whatever.
The other theory is that it's either Chase's mom and or sister is piloting the mech, but it's like, oh, yeah, we just like overwrote this person's mind in cyberspace, but there's still fragments there. And then like, what is it? The third most like out of the theory is it's like Doctor Who's like assistant or like, partner in crime is like the person that's created this mech or something like that is the other theory that's floating around. So those are really kind of like the three main theories.
I'm kind of hoping we don't reach for that. Like, maybe if it's like, if whomever is piloting that, it's gonna be like another like it's an actually defined antagonist, because the Union's no more than like evil empire that is killing people. We don't really have like someone at the head of this, an actual like just
Honestly,
an actual character to hate.
At this point, I don't think we're gonna get that. It's at least like maybe like the stinger at the very end of this season will end up with that.
Yeah, maybe. So there is the theory that it's Sinclair somehow, or the guy that they swapped in for Sinclair. I've seen that theory floating around, and if that does end up being the case, if like his brain getting scrambled by the thing, ended up putting him in like this network that allowed him to infect the bad guy mech, and that was like the plan the whole time. it would make me hate episode 2 a little less, because as convoluted as that is, it is a different kind of we failed on purpose plan, and so I have to give kudos to that.
The guy, it's literally the joke's on you. This was a part of the plan the entire time. It's almost like a JoJo sort of thing where it's like, ha, you thought you killed me? I was just hiding in a pocket dimension this entire time so I could kill you, even though I'm still technically dead. And I think that's spoilers for what, part 6 or part 7 of JoJo?
I don't know. I haven't read that far ahead yet.
I haven't even started watching part 5.
You should. It's actually really good.
Well, I'm going to watch it. It's just my plan was to wait until it's over and then just binge watch the full thing. Because that's what I did for part 4, and I liked it a lot.
Also, get dabbed on Digibro.
What?
Don't start, bro, because like he's the kind of guy that will take it far. Like, if he learns about it, he will actually retaliate.
Yeah. I don't know enough about Digibro to take pot shots at him, but I do know that he's kind of a fucking twerp.
I mean, like, unfortunately, he is a truly terrible individual, and I wish him nothing but suffering and loneliness for the rest of his life. Unironically.
Well, at least it's not me saying it this time. So, in the long and short of it, I'm not feeling like there's still some things that have been left up in the air since the very beginning, and I want to address something in comparison between this and RWBY. Because it is true that RWBY did not establish the villain motivations until at least Volume 4. In the grand scheme, in the grand scheme of things, that their overarching plan didn't really get addressed until Volume 4 with the introduction of the relics. But the more short-term goal of Cinder destroying Beacon and whatnot, that was at least in Volume 3, which was still part of, like, technically Season 1. Like, you have to remember, more screen time has been dedicated to Genlock at this point than all of Volume 1. And
this is true.
And we're almost
5 episodes in.
And we're a little over halfway through it now. And by this point, RWBY Volume 1 had done a lot more to establish its characters, to establish its villain, to establish its world. And unlike Genlock, the villains were supposed to be a mystery with, like, the protagonists in RWBY don't even know that the villains exist, really. That they know about Torchwick and the White Fang, but that's all they know until the end of Volume 3. They don't really see how deep Salem gets until Volume 5 with Lionheart. And need I remind you that RWBY Volume 1 is the second worst volume of RWBY for a reason. Like, it frustrates me when I shouldn't say people, because I've only ran into one person like this, but it frustrates me when he says that Genlock so far has been better than RWBY Volume 6, because there is so much wrong with that statement. Nothing really has happened, and I'd be fine with episodes like this if they were if they were a lot tighter, if they were a lot more character focused. If if in this one they took away some of the chase stuff and put that in like last week's episode or episode 3, and really focus in on Cammy overcoming this trauma that the Grievous Mech dished out to her last week, and kind of rising above that, not through actually confronting it and fighting it with the help of her friends. If that was what they focused on, if that was the point of this episode, it would have went over a lot better. But as it stands, there's only one episode of Genlock I really, really liked, and it was episode 3. All the other episodes so far have been bland, anywhere between bland to outright awful, and maybe it picks it up in the last 3 episodes as it ramps up to a finale. Maybe it doesn't. But if it doesn't, I don't think I'm going to be tuning in for season 2.
Oh no. Don't not do that. I have too much fun.
That means that I have to record the podcast and then they'll get posted on Media's channel.
I'll still host podcasts. And if you all as podcast teammates and also as viewers listening to this now would want us to continue doing podcasts in season 2 when it happens, then I will bite the bullet for your benefit and keep watching it in order to just contribute to the conversations.
Wow.
But if that's not if you guys in the audience are more merciful than that, again, like, this is all speculative based on if the next 3 episodes are as bad as these last 2 episodes. That's how it's gonna go down. But if it does pick up and it gives a satisfying conclusion, then I'll be on board for season 2 in a heartbeat. But that's just how it's looking right now for me.
Well, there you have it, folks. These hoes ain't loyal, but we sure are. So, just
Don't hold me to that.
I will say this though.
you are not a part of this. Like,
when it comes to
you're just our friend. You're just our friend that we like to talk to and invite on the podcast once every like year.
Once every yawn.
Yeah. Because this is
definitely
the
would like
first.
to have you on the podcast more, but that's just me and my personal opinion. But
Yeah. Well, the only other time I think you've been on a podcast was like a GB podcast or something. Oh no, the Adam character.
No, it was
you were
the
there
Adam
as well.
part. Yep.
That was fun.
I will say this though. I kind of hope that the General Grievous robot is essentially just a drone with an extremely advanced, like, I would even prefer a rampant AI that's developed its own personality that maybe even the Union has a hard time keeping control of.
That would be pretty neat, to be honest.
You know what I want? They ripped off the robots, 2 of the robots' arms, right? I want them to stay ripped off, and also because that will prove to me that they just didn't want to animate 4 arms.
Yeah. So are we ready to wrap this up then? Because I think we talked about everything that has happened in the episode. And we've made our little brief speculations. And so if you like this video and you want to see more, like, comment, subscribe, watch my other videos, watch our Ruby podcast, watch my Ruby content. Honest Looks arc incoming. In fact, I'm working on a Volume 6 recap type video right now. I recorded that last night.
Sick.
Yeah. And then follow me on Twitter at EAMediocrity4. Join the Discord. And support me on Patreon, please, because every dollar helps.
And if you or a loved one is suffering from gender dysphoria, then call the helpful hotline at 1-800 Ain't Nobody Give a Fuck About That Gay Shit.
Lily's eyes in gayness.
How much do I need to pay you for silence?
More than you got.
Oh.
I was gonna say, if I land this job, Lily will have plenty of money coming her way.
Oh my.
Oh
It's like
god,
Lily-
life do be like that.
And Lily's just gonna have a high-powered tier in her Patreon that's always filled.
No.
Oh yeah, support Lily on
No.
Patreon. She does good art. It's beautiful and majestic.
She doesn't have a
It is.
Patreon yet, though.
I have a
right?
Ko-fi,
Oh,
though.
Question mark?
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, she draws
Yeah.
really good art.
Yeah,
Both of the lewd
yeah.
and the non-lewd variety.
Yeah, Lily, send me a link to your stuff and I'll put it in the description for people to find you.
Sweet, thank you.
Gotta plug that shit. You gotta plug everything.
Yeah.
It's all about
Plug-
Suddenly gets an
plug-
influx of people wanting the Rubio East run.
Yeah. Plug
We gotta-
all the holes.
We gotta cross-saturate the media platforms, Lily. Jargon.
Meep.
So
You make me worry sometimes.
I know so much about marketing.
yeah. So everyone else, have a good night.
Y'all have a good night.
Take care,
See ya.
humans.